Um, Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vũ Việt Anh, and today I'm here with my group of five members. They are Hương, Nguyễn Đức An, Hoàng Trung, and Nguyễn Duy Anh. Today, I want to talk about one of the most shocking and tragic events in modern history: the September 11 in 2001 terrorist attacks in the United States. On that day, four civilian airplanes were hijacked almost at the same time by terrorists. The planes were then used as a weapon to carry out suicide attacks, causing massive destruction and loss of life. Let me walk through what happened. The first plane, American Airlines Flight 11, took from took off from Boston at 7:59 a.m. and at 8:46 a.m. it crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York, causing severe damage and killing many people inside the building. And the second plane, United Airlines Flight 1075, also departed from Boston at 9:03 a.m. It crashed into the South Tower of the World Trade Center. The impact was broadcast live on television, shocking an entire World Towers later collapsed, resulting in thousands of deaths, including civilians and rescue workers. The third plane, American Airlines Flight 77, took off from Washington Airport at 9:37 a.m. It crashed into the Pentagon, causing serious destruction and the death of many people inside the building. Finally, the fourth plane, United Airlines Flight 93, had a different story. So after learning about the earlier attacks, passengers bravely fought back against the terrorists. During the struggle, the plane crashed into a field in Pennsylvania at 10:03 a.m. Although all 44 people on board died, their action likely prevented another attacks on Washington, D.C. Many people consider them heroes. In total, nearly 3,000 people lost their, lost their life in the attacks. The event of September 11 not only caused deep sorrow, but also changed the world in many ways, especially in terms of global security and international relations. And now I would like to invite my teammate Nguyễn Hương to continue the presentation.
Okay, hi, I'm Hương. So, to understand the world we live in today, we have to look back at a single Tuesday morning in September 2001, a day that started out completely normal but ended up changing everything. What we now call 9/11 wasn't just a series of attacks on a map. It was a profound shock to the global psyche that fundamentally shifted how we travel, how we view security, and how we treat one another. The event unfolded with a terrifying speed that left the world paralyzed in front of their television screens. 19 terrorists took control of four commercial planes, including turning vehicles meant for travel into weapons of mass destruction. At 8:46 a.m., the first plane hit the North Tower of the World Trade Center, and just minutes later, a second plane struck the South Tower. As the world tried to make sense of the chaos in New York, a third plane hit the Pentagon. and a Ford crashed into a field in Pennsylvania after a heroic struggle by the passenger on board. The image of the Twin Towers collapsing is just something that's remained burned into the memory of an entire generation. It wasn't just a steel and glass that fell, it was the loss of nearly 3,000 lives, mothers, fathers, friends, and hundreds of brave first responders who ran towards the danger while everyone else was running away. To this day, it remains the deadliest act of terrorism in history, leaving behind a scar that has never truly faded. In the years that followed, the ripple of that morning reached every corner of the globe. We saw the start of the war on terror and a massive overhaul of how we handle national safety. Today, as we look at the memorial where those towers once stood, we don't just remember the tragedy, we remember the day the world realized how fragile peace is and how important it is to protect it together. And continue the next part is Nguyễn Đức An.
Hello. So I will be presenting next. So I will be discussing about the attack on September 11 that affected the attitude of many Americans who were the people with Middle Eastern descent. Immediately after the 9/11 attack in 2001, fear and anger spread across the United States because the attacker were member of an extremist group called Al Qaeda. Many Americans began associating terrorism with Middle Eastern and Muslim community. As a result, many innocent people were judged based on their appearance, religion, or background. And after the 9/11, the rise in hate crime and discrimination increased dramatically. According to the FBI, anti-Muslim hate crime increased by about 1,600% in, after the attack. In 2000, there were only 28 recorded anti-Muslim hate crime incidents. In 2001, that number rose sharply to 481 incidents. People experienced verbal harassment, physical violence, workplace discrimination, bullying in school, vandalism against mosques and businesses. One of the more famous examples of violence was a man called Balbir Singh Sohi, a Sikh American man. He was murdered only 4 days after the 9/11 attack because the attacker mistakenly believed he was Muslim. This shows how fear and anger sometimes lead to violence against innocent people. After the attack, the United States government also introduced stronger security measures. Mainly, the USA Patriot Act expanded the government's surveillance power. Many Muslim and Arab communities were monitored more closely. Thousands of people from Muslim-majority countries were questioned and detained. Some civil rights groups argue that these policies were unjust and unfairly targeting innocent people just because of their religion and ethnicity. In the long-term effect, studies show that many Arab and Muslim Americans experience fear, anxiety, and emotional stress because of the discrimination after 9/11. The attack also contributed to the rise of Islamophobia and negative stereotypes in American society. Even today, the social effect of 9/11 can still be seen. However, many Americans also promoted tolerance, unity, and of course, religious freedom during this time. In conclusion, the attack on September 11 not only affect American security and politics, but also social attitude. Fear and suspicion after the attack caused discrimination, prejudice against many innocent people of Middle Eastern descent and related community. The effect of this attitude continued on for many years even after the attack. That's all. And after me will be by Duke. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dirk, and now we will continue on comparing the Pearl Harbor and 9/11. Okay, uh, so in today, what happens on 7th December 1941, that's the Pearl Harbor, and 9/11, 2001. is the 9/11. Both were surprise attacks that changed the United States and the world forever. So let's look how they are similar and how they are different. First, let's talk about who was behind this attack. Pearl Harbor was a military attack by a country, the Empire of Japan. They used plane to bomb a military base in Hawaii. The goal was to destroy the US Navy so they could control the Pacific region. On the other hand, 9/11 was not done by a country. It was a terrorist attack by a group called Al Qaeda. They didn't use military planes. They hijacked civilians passengers planes. The goal was to spread fear and strike symbol of American wealth and power, like the World Trade Center. The victims of these 2 days were also different. At Pearl Harbor, most of the people who died were soldiers and sailors. But on 9/11, almost all of the 3,000 victims were normal people going to work, office workers, firemen, and passengers. This is why 9/11 feels so personal to many citizens. It feels like an attack on everyday life. In both cases, this attack brought Americans together. After Pearl Harbor, the US officially entered World War II. It changed the country from a quiet nation into a world leader. After 9/11, the US started the War on Terror. This led to new wars against Africans and Iraq. It's also changed how we travel. Think about the long security line at the airport today. Yeah, that started because of 9/11. To sum up this, Pearl Harbor was a traditional war between two armies, while 9/11 was a new kind of war against terrorism. However, both events remind us that the world can change very quickly. They both show the strength of the American people when they face crisis. Now we continue on to Yang.
Oh, my name is Nguyễn Duy Anh. I'm gonna talk. I wanna discuss about the effects of the 9/11 attacks. About the human impact. There are two planes crashed into the Twin Towers. One hit the Pentagon, and another crashed in Pennsylvania. After the passengers fought back, nearly 3,000 people were killed and more than 6,000 were injured. The collapse of the Twin Towers shocked the world and increased global fear of terrorism. The increased global security after the attacks, many countries strengthened security measures, especially at the airports. Passengers had to go through stricter checks such as baggage scanning and identity verification. The United States also created the Department of Homeland Security in 2002 to improve national security and fight terrorism more effectively. About the political and military consequence, the attacks greatly changed international politics. The United States launched the War on Terror and sent troops to Afghanistan in 2001. Later, the US also invaded Iraq in 2003. These wars lasted for many years, caused many deaths, and changed the foreign policies of several countries. Economically, the attacks caused huge loss. The World Trade Center was destroyed, and the US stock market dropped sharply after reopening. The airline, tourism, and hotel industries were also badly affected because many people were afraid to travel. And the effects on Vietnam, although Vietnam was not directly attacked, it still experienced some effects. International tourism decreased and trade activities became more difficult because of the weaker global economy. Vietnam also strengthened airport security at major international airports. So, in conclusion, the 9/11 attacks were a major turning point in world history. They changed global security, politics, the economy, and social attitudes, and their effects can still be seen today. And next, I'm gonna give you an example about the COVID-19, about the effects on public health. COVID-19 has had a major impact on public health. Millions of people were infected, and many died. In Vietnam, hospitals became overcrowded, while doctors and nurses worked very hard. Many people also experienced stress and anxiety during lockdowns. About the economy, the pandemic seriously affect the economy. Many business closed, and tourism and transportation industries suffered greatly. In Vietnam, many workers lost their jobs or earned lower salaries. Uh, about the education. Education was disrupted because schools closed and students had to study online. However, many students in rural areas lacked good internet access, which affected learning quality. So that is all about our presentation. Thank you for listening.